Hi, I'm Gerri Viant along with Mark Fischl, and we are delighted to have Heather Prop join us today. Heather is the head of the Women's Ranking Players Committee, and you took over the role this past spring.
I did.
Good. So, Heather, tell us about some of the changes that have been made with the Women's Committee.
Well, the first change was we had two separate committees at one time. We've combined both of them, so the committee is the players and the ranking together.
Right. That makes a lot of sense.
Yes.
Uh-huh. Yep. And then the committee consists of?
Yes, I selected 8 players that I thought would be a great representation of their region. So I have 8 players from each different region.
So it's very diverse.
Very diverse,
right?
And different levels. And different levels, yes.
And what's the goal of the committee?
Our goal is we really wanted to represent everyone who plays tournaments. Not just the top players, but that's why we have different levels of players representing us so that they can go back to their people and talk about issues that we might have for them.
Right, and you've had a lot of decisions that you've made, right?
Yes.
You kind of really went back to bare bones. And
we did, and I feel blessed that I had such great people coming back to me and really had some great things to say and had really some really good opinions about it. So,
and what were some of those decisions that had to be made?
Well, we've decided to go and adapt the men's ranking system this year.
A system which John Noble and his team came up with, and we've tried for a couple of years, trying to eliminate as much subjectivity as possible. So tried and true it. It's a really smart thing.
Yes, definitely. That was the biggest thing.
Right.
Yeah.
And that's based on a formula.
Yep.
Right. So how many the number of top ranking teams?
There's a chart. So there's top 24 teams, and they add the number of points up for those teams.
Right.
And then that determines what the ultimate rating of the tournament is.
Correct. And what's different about it was the last 15, 20 years, it was always based on the top 10 women. So a tournament rating was only based on how many top 10 players or top 10 teams came. Now, because of the depth of the players these days is incredible, we have to go deeper into the draw and into the points. So we're doing top 24, depending on the draw size.
Right.
I think at this Chicago Charities, we went to the top 24 players' points this time.
Yeah.
Gerri,
and then the Grand Prix, right? The Grand Prix is a weighted, guaranteed amount. So
exactly.
Yeah, Gerri and I were saying that the 16th year are like the quarters were 3 years ago.
Yeah. Right.
We normally start talking about the draw, and now we're talking about the quarters, round of 16, and then some. So the depth. So the point systems are done, and the draw is made. So there's a new format with that. You want to talk about that?
Well, besides that, because the depth of the tournaments are getting better, that one of the other changes that we made was we used to be able to do tiebreakers for the third set in the backdraw matches. But because we're awarding more points to players even in the backdraw, that one of the changes is we're not playing a tiebreaker anymore. All matches must be played out.
And how far down are you awarding points?
Well, it's a formula, but the men's a little different than the women's because the men's draw is usually bigger, but we're awarding points way down into the consolation, which we never really had done before.
That's terrific. So now every match counts.
Absolutely.
Exactly. And the quarter reprieves.
Yes.
Are weighted, so they have to be played out too,
right? The quarter reprieves, and our discussion was there's a lot of people who have to travel a long distance. They leave their families and they leave their jobs. It's no fun to go to a tournament and play 2 or 3 matches and then you're done. So the quarter reprieve was voted unanimously to be played for the women.
And how exactly are the draws made? Like who's involved? What's the system? Because I know you have a procedure for everything.
Right.
So how does that work?
Well, I learned from Isla. Isla was, last year she kind of tutelaged me a little bit about how to do it. But
that's Isla Main, who was the head of the Women's Players Committee for many
years.
Yes.
Yep.
So I was on a few calls with her and learned that. But it's basically myself, the chair, and then we have Ann Sheedy, who's the executive director, and I'm given a list of what Ray Crosta gives to me, a list of all the rankings of the players after each tournament. So I've got that list. Ann Sheedy has the numbers, so she does not have the list. So she draws numbers, and I do that with the corresponding names that are with the numbers.
And we might just point out that you're in Cincinnati, Ann's in
Pittsburgh,
Ray's in New
Jersey, and then we have Isabel Caban, who she's kind of our webmaster.
Right. So we've got a conference call.
Right.
I've got to picture this in my mind.
Yeah.
We've got somebody doing one thing,
Yeah.
someone's doing the other, and you tie
Yes.
it together.
Yes, and it's very efficient. So Isabel, every time we draw a name, she'll put it right into the life scoring, which is nice and easy.
Yeah.
And then there's usually two more, the tournament director. And why we want the tournament director
The
there.
local tournament
The local
director.
tournament director, because they can tell us if there's 4 people that are playing from the same club, if they are drawn to play each other, that's the only time that we actually change it and take them out of the list and redraw again.
So they don't play each other in the first round.
Exactly.
So the important thing to me is it's obviously a blind draw.
Yes, it certainly is. Yes, it's very random. We don't want to feel like we're fixing the draw. So we place the seeds, and we place some other placings depending on the size of the draw, and then everything else is random.
So we go through the season, and we're, all the players are getting points for the nationals, but we also have the President's Cup, which gets played, the day before, and for a lot of players, this is their nationals.
Right.
So I believe you've made some changes to the women's President's
Well,
Cup.
our biggest, issue was communication. There was a little lack of communication, perhaps, between some of the parties. So I know that Shannon Vincent, who is coordinating the Grand Prix and the Nationals,
She's our tour director.
yes, she has compiled a book, a manual that she's going to give to whoever's running the next President's Cup. They'll have all the rules and regulations in that book, and they can have it right there for them. So there won't be any questions about what to do. So you're asking me what other differences there are?
Yeah,
okay.
like for all our President's Cup people out there say, what do I need to do to get in?
If you are in the top 24 the top 24 in the nation, you are not allowed to play
That's
President's
24
Cup.
individual or teams?
Individuals, yes.
So if you really want to play, don't get into the top 24.
And there's a cutoff to getting in, last tournament?
Yes, the last tournament this year will be February 19th, and I believe that's 3 weeks before the nationals start. So everyone can get their teams together, and you can't play another tournament after that. That will apply to your President's Cup points.
Right.
So it's points amassed before then, obviously.
Yeah, yes.
Right.
So there'll be like I can feel it. There's going to be a set manual that's then going to go place to place.
Right. And the biggest, well, not the biggest change, but something that's going to be very communicated is how do we win President's Cup?
Yeah.
There was an issue last year.
Was there?
Yes, there was, as you know. So we've made it very clear what's going to win what President's Cup, and it's not going to be the undefeated team. It's the team that it has accumulated the most points throughout the President's Cup competition, which means all matches count.
Oh, good.
That's a really good change.
And typically, there's how many teams that are playing?
Well, there's
on your team.
7
regions. 7 regions, but you
5
lines.
5 lines. So all 5 lines are going to be counted.
Exactly.
And you guys still have subs as well?
There are subs, yes. Yes, so I think it's going to be a good thing, and I think it'll be fun. And Shannon's done a great job putting this all together.
As she always does.
Well, Heather, thank you for stopping by, and congratulations on your title. It sounds like you're really pulling it together. With everybody's a lot of input, and
well, I think the women's game is in a great place right now. So,
it really is exciting. I mean, the depth of the women's draw is
tremendous. I also say thank you for stepping forward to take this job. I know sometimes it's not the most popular position. I noticed you were wearing your Kevlar vest today, so I hope that suits you well.
And also, and you're competing at a high level. I mean, we were talking about you in the pre-tournament draw.
Knocking on the door.
You're knocking on the door to break through. So congratulations on that as well. You're really playing very well.
And you carried Rob Bacher to the final of the mixed
true.
nationals last year. That was a heavy load.
All right. Well, thanks, Heather,
thank you
and
so
good luck. We'll catch up with you a little bit later in the season.
Okay. Thank you.